Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Marissa White, and on Wednesdays, we get weird. For today's Weird Wednesday video, we are going to be going over a true crime case, the Covina Massacre. Now, this is a case that happened on Christmas Eve back in 2008, and since it's Christmas time, I thought that I would give you guys something that was related to the holidays. Now, of course, with my morbid self, I think of, what murders happened around Christmas that I can go over, but it's this time of year, so I thought it was fitting, and I hope it doesn't suck out any of your holiday joy, and we can just remember these victims, and heart goes out to the family. I just want to say that first of all, when I report on these true crime incidents, I am not trying to come off as insensitive. I 100% understand that these are real people, real victims, and my heart goes out to the family, and I pray for them to heal, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can when I report on these topics. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I do have the utmost respect for the victims and their family. So for you guys that don't know, Covina is a small suburb of LA here in California, and there is a family named the Ortega family, and the Ortega family decided that they were going to have a party on New Year's Eve where they were going to have all of the children. They were all grown children for the most part, and then their children, so the grandchildren. And the parents were hosting the party, the parents of the Ortega family. So they were a very close, tight-knit family. Everyone was very close, lots of siblings. All their children were friends and played together. And so naturally, the party was a lot of fun, and everybody was playing games and having a good time and just enjoying Christmas Eve together as a family. I've got my wine ready for this one, you guys. This gets dark fast. So total, there are 5 of the grown children of Joseph and Alice in the house, and then their children as well, and their spouses. So the family's playing their games, they're having a good time. It's around 11 p.m. by now, and the doorbell rings. One of the small children that was at the party, her name was Katrina. She was 8 years old. She decided to run to the door and answer it, and when she answered it, she was super excited because it was Santa Claus. So she starts yelling out, "Santa, Santa, Santa's here." You guys, Santa Claus is holding a wrapped gift, and inside of the wrapped gift is a homemade freaking flamethrower. And in the other hand, he has a gun. And he holds up the gun and he shoots 8-year-old Katrina Ortega in the face. Thankfully, he just clipped her jaw. She actually survived, but he just pulls out a gun dressed as freaking Santa Claus and shoots an 8-year-old child in the face. If that doesn't scream evil and wicked and disgusting, I don't know what does. I mean, that's just sick. So after he shoots 8-year-old Katrina in the face, he decides to make his way into the party, and he just starts randomly shooting up everyone. Anyone that's in his view, he's just singling them out and shooting them. And it was said that a lot of the men in the family, even after being shot and wounded, were trying to get up and attack him and protect their family, but they just couldn't. He had shot them and eventually ended up passing away. You have to think about how off guard these people were caught. I mean, they're at their parents' house. They're celebrating Christmas Eve with their family. Their children are there. Their spouses are there. They're not expecting for someone to come in dressed as Santa and start shooting them. So needless to say, they were caught off guard. So he had a pretty easy time shooting quite a few people. So obviously, it's not Santa Claus that is shooting up this family. It is 45-year-old Bruce Pardo. Bruce Pardo was recently divorced by Sylvia Ortega, which was one of the family members that were in the house. And he decided to show up and take out his revenge and his anger on her and her entire family by dressing up like Santa and shooting the place up. It's said that one of the family members actually called out, it's Bruce," as he was in there in the Santa suit shooting people up, because there was people who were escaping. Not everybody died. A lot of people, saw him come in the suit and start shooting and then fled either upstairs or to a different room. And before he started torching the entire place, he was just shooting people with a gun. So they knew who it was. So all in all, he killed 9 members of the Ortega family and then injured 3 of them. 9 people of their family were murdered in the house on Christmas by a man dressed as Santa Claus who used to be part of their family. That is just, I couldn't even imagine. So out of the 3 people that were wounded that didn't die was the 8-year-old Katrina that had got shot in the face. She turned her head as he pulled out the gun, and that actually saved her life because the bullet just barely grazed her jaw. So even though it looked really bad, and her mom was obviously freaking out, which her mom is one of the survivors, she was okay later on. There was also a 16-year-old girl who was shot in the back who ended up escaping and making it to a neighbor's house and was able to wait there until the police arrived, and even though she was shot, she did survive. There was also a 20-year-old woman who jumped out of a window of the upper level of the house, and she broke her ankle, but all in all, she was fine. So after Bruce, dressed as Santa, shot up the house, he actually pulled out his homemade flamethrower, and he used racing fuel and just lit up the entire house. So anybody that wasn't dead from the gunshot wounds were burned. And at the end of it, sadly, the investigators had to identify the bodies with their dental and medical records because the bodies were so unrecognizable from the fire. That's how bad the fire was. And obviously they knew who the victims were. The survivors knew because they knew who was missing. But obviously when it comes to, cold hard facts, they wanted to identify the bodies, and that's how bad it was. They had to go back to their dental records because there was so much destruction, and that's just so sad that these people, even their bodies, were disrespected to that level after being shot on Christmas. And it's so messed up, you guys. So this fire that Bruce had started, because he, of course, left after setting the house on fire, it went on for over an hour and a half. It took 80 firemen to actually put the fire out. The whole house was just completely destroyed. The flames were reaching like 50 feet in the air. It was devastating. So the entire neighborhood, was watching this go down, and there was multiple calls to police made, obviously, by not only survivors from the house, but from the neighbors. It was a huge event, and people were just devastated by this. And Leticia, which was the sister of Sylvia, she actually survived, and so did her daughter. Her daughter was Katrina, the one that got shot in the face, and they just stood outside devastated and watched the house just completely burn into nothing with their remaining family inside. So, among the victims were Sylvia Ortega, which was actually Bruce's ex-wife, Alicia Ortega, which was Sylvia's mother, Joseph Ortega, which was Sylvia's father, married couple Charles and Sherry Ortega, who was Sylvia's brother and sister-in-law, James and Teresa Ortega, who was Sylvia's brother and sister-in-law, and Michael Ortiz, which was actually Alicia's son. So, the motive for Bruce going off and killing Sylvia and almost her entire family is said to be because Sylvia filed for a divorce. So Sylvia and Bruce were married for only about a year, and she found out that Bruce was lying to her about a bunch of stuff, and so she decided that she wanted to get a divorce. He seemed, honestly, like, you guys, a straight up asshole, piece of shit, you name it. Sylvia had 3 kids from a previous marriage, and he told Sylvia that he felt like she should basically have to take care of her and her children financially on her own. Even though he had a good paying job, he felt like his finances were his, and he didn't want to mix their finances or contribute at all to her children. And when you get married, that's just bullshit. I mean, if you're marrying somebody and you're going to be a father figure to these children, how can you say something like that? So I don't blame her for leaving. Also came out that he had an estranged child from a previous marriage or a previous relationship. I'm not really sure if they were married or not, but this child was this huge secret in Bruce's life, and Sylvia found out about it. And Bruce basically was a deadbeat father. The kid was in a swimming pool accident, and he was like severely brain damaged and in a wheelchair, and Bruce didn't really want anything to do with his son. It was like his dirty secret, which is so sad and just and he just pretended like it never happened, even though he was paying child support for this child. And so when Sylvia found out about it, she was completely taken back and also heartbroken. And it just showed her what kind of person Bruce truly was. He was an absent father. He was not a good person. And so she left him. In June of 2008, Bruce was ordered to pay Sylvia's spousal support every single month. So he had to give her like $1,700 a month just from being married to her. He also had to give Sylvia $10,000 as part of the settlement. So financially, he was hit really hard with this. Don't feel bad for him, not saying that I'm sympathetic about it, but this is, again, part of the motive. He had mentioned to one of his friends that his wife was taking him to the cleaners and was really upset about the fact that he had to give her all this money and was complaining about how she kept the ring and the dog and all of the classic, evil ex-wife, ex-husband, all of that shenanigans that was going on. So after Bruce did what he did, he actually drove himself 30 miles away from the crime scene to another town and went to his brother's house. And he had really severe second and third degree burns on his arm, so bad that the Santa suit, some of the plastic in it was actually melted into his skin. So he would have been in a lot of pain. And obviously, he can't go to the hospital because he's going to, be caught. So he decided to put the same gun that he used to shoot up the house in his mouth and kill himself. His brother wasn't home when it happened, so when the police found out that he was there and what had happened, they, searched the body and they actually found $17,000 strapped to his leg. He had it in like a girdle strapped to his leg, and he had already purchased a plane ticket to Illinois and had been in communication with a friend saying that he was going to be visiting them. I forgot to mention that he actually planned on murdering his own mother for siding with Sylvia in the divorce, but obviously he didn't make it that far. But yeah, that's what he planned on doing. So it's clear that Bruce had a plan to try and escape. And I think personally, and a lot of other people believe, that after it happened and he got hurt, he just decided, well, it is what it is. I'm in a lot of pain and I'm probably not going to get away with it. So he took the way out and shot himself in the face so that he wouldn't have to be caught and punished for what he did. Sylvia's sister that survived, Leticia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Leticia, I apologize. She survived, and obviously her daughter did too, and they are doing great today. They're actually super positive and it's really inspiring. She just basically says that because of the evil that he put her and her family through, she doesn't want to harbor any hate in her heart or be negative, and she's big on just keeping a positive mindset and actually has a personal blog where she spreads her positivity and helps people that have been through, different tragedies and things of that sort. So she took something really awful and disgusting that happened to her and her family, and she's trying to turn it around into something positive, which I thought was worth mentioning in this video because what a strong person. I mean, all of her siblings were, killed, and her parents, and it was just such a heartbreaking situation. And for her to be able to come out and still be positive and not let his evilness completely make her bitter and hateful for the rest of her life. So yeah, that is the story of the Covina massacre and what Bruce did to this poor family on Christmas Eve. I mean, it's one thing to kill somebody, but to dress up like something so innocent like Santa Claus and shoot a child in the face and then continue to pick off family members one by one. That's what's so shocking to me about this case, is how purely evil this act was. I mean, how does somebody, regardless of a divorce or whatever the situation may be, I could see, not that I'm, I can't put myself in that mental space of killing somebody, but it would make more sense to me if he just killed her. But children and her entire family, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how people like that, their brain works. I think that's why it's so fascinating to me, because my brain doesn't work that way, and I don't understand how anybody could ever think that way. And so it's really fascinating to me, and I want to know, what was going through their head. But unfortunately, I will never know because I'm not that type of person and I don't have that kind of mindset. Yeah, but let me know if you've heard about this case, how you feel about it. So crazy, you guys. I mean, people are nuts. So apparently there's actually a movie called Silent Night that is based off of this massacre. I myself have not seen it. Let me know if you guys have seen it, if it's any good. I don't know how I feel about making a movie about such a tragic event, unless it's tastefully done. I would have to see it, so I'm not saying I endorse the movie because I have not seen it. If you have, let me know in the comments below. And that's gonna do it for today's Weird Wednesday video. Thank you guys as always for watching. I'm sorry if I put a damper on your holiday spirit by, telling you such a gruesome, awful Christmas story. But I mean, if you're on my channel, these are the things that we talk about. So if you guys did like this video, it would mean so much to me. If you did like it, it helps me out tremendously. If you're not already subscribed and you do enjoy my videos, please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Join my little family. We're growing slowly but surely, and we have a good time here. So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.